All right, so this is the third page that I have to do for the wedding celebration because I didn't want to fit these on there, and I can do it as a separate with a separate title. So I have this really nice piece of embossed cardstock, and then I also have this with circles on it. So I'm just gonna lean into the bubble thing and concept. I've got my 4 photos here, and then what I think I'm going to do is a pretty big border. I'm gonna gut this so I have it, and then use this really busy paper, and we're just gonna go for it. We're gonna cover quite a bit of it with other circles and stuff. It's gonna be a really busy page, and I'm okay with that. So this looks like it's about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to cut an inch off this and gut this. So if you haven't, when you have like a really, let's say precious paper, I'm going to cut it at 1 1/4 inches, I think. That will give me plenty of, let's see, that'll be 1 inch, that'll be 1 1/4 inches. Plenty of space to glue it down, a nice sturdy border, and yet I will have paper to mat photos or do something else with. Let's just trim the rest of this out. So that gives me a really good size piece of paper left. And then this will become my frame. And I made it big enough so that you can see that it's still got circles on it. So I'm just going to do 1 inch off 2 sides of this. And 1 inch off this side. Now you can vary the size that you want to do. 3/4 of an inch is pretty common, and 1/2 inch if you want a thin one. And you can do as small as 1/8 of an inch. If it's directional and you need to preserve certain parts of this, then you just have to cut off all 4 parts. And I'm just going to do this. It's going to help me align things on this cutting mat. And I think that's a nice frame. All right. So I think normally I would go diagonal down this way, but I think I'm going to do a diagonal. Let's see, I have 2 big ones. So I think I want that one. She's running into the page. This one got cut off a bit. Alrighty, well, I was spending a little time, you know, fussing around with photos, so I thought I'd go ahead and speed it up. And I'm going to make some additional circles and use this scrap of pink. And I'm just doing a couple of different sizes, not drastically different, but this one, for example, I want a little bit smaller. So I'm going to leave it at that, and then I'm going to get my Creative Memories punch. I'm just checking to see that this is a different size than the inside hole. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to do a similar thing here. A small one, and then a slightly bigger one. And a little one. Now it's just a matter of arranging them. I do go back and make an additional tiny one for each one. I'm just trying to spread out the colors. Now I could have done additional colors, but I like the pink and turquoise. I love pink and turquoise together. And I think that those sort of show up the best on this. And it might have gotten even busier, if that were possible, if I had pulled in the yellow or the green as well. Or the red. There's a red on here as well. So I'm ready to commit. Now I decided not to mat the photos because I feel like they stand out enough with the paper that has a white background. And now that I've got everything stuck down, I'm going to move things around. And I'm kind of pleased with that. I'm looking at these other circles that I had pulled from my ephemera binder, and they don't look as good as the as this embossed paper. So I'm going to add a couple more from the embossed paper. And now I've got these little pieces of ephemera that are just left over from the previous page that I didn't use on it. And I decide just to add some texture. A couple of these are vellum. And I'm gonna make use of them. So I went into my little ribbon binder, not binder, drawer, and I found this pink ribbon. And these little squares had a little slot in it for ribbon or something. And so I decide I'm going to try and use that. And it's a little girl page, so I think ribbon is appropriate. And I decide for embellishment, I'm going to use these little clear half spheres because they look a little bit like bubbles or water droplets, but I'm using them as bubbles on this page, and that's going to be my sprinkling around. And then I realized I don't have a title yet. What am I going to do? So I decide to use these and I also pulled out an Echo Park paper pad because I knew there were some bubbly stickers in here. I remembered. So I'm just looking for anything that I think will work. This is Play All Day, I think. A couple of little word phrases. And I like this bubble thing better. The colors are better. And I was trying to get a butterfly off and it just wouldn't, it wasn't cut properly or something, so I couldn't get the butterfly. And I think that's about it. So I am pulling in the green with some of the embellishments here, some of these stickers. And I'm okay with that. And I'm just using, sometimes I punch a hole in these ribbons and do a brad, and I decided not to for this one. I'm just using a glue dot to hold them down, and then sort of reinforcing some adhesive on the back of the vellum. Now, I do move around some of these embellishments, some of these stickers and things, because I started out with them pretty scattered. And now I'm ready to glue. I mean, this came together really, oh, and I still haven't done the title. I'm like, oh, before I glue those down, I should probably do the title. So I'm just going to do Bubble Fun. I couldn't come up with a creative title for it. And I'm just going around that circle, not being too particular about it. And especially since this is really just a companion page to the other one. The pictures speak for themselves. And then I realized that I should collect those little pieces of stickers and ephemera into little collections a little bit better. And that's basically all I did for this page. I think it came out really, really cute. And you could do this for balloons, and you could make each of these balloons if you wanted to. Bubbles, swimming, and playing in the water. This kind of layout would work for that. And you can adjust it to the number of pictures you have, the size of pictures that you have. So I think it's pretty fun and versatile. All right, I think we're ready to do some close-ups. Oh, I decided to add one more ribbon because I've got 2 pieces of ribbon on there. So I'm just going to tie a quick bow. And we're going to add that to this bottom cluster area. And that gives me a little triangle of ribbon. And then I needed to move a sticker, and I had glue dots flying everywhere. All right, so let's do some close-ups.